Good evening, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. Got special guest Freddy with me today. Freddy is going to talk a little bit about the supply chain. He is going to talk about one of his toys. What are these things?
Funko Pops.
And now, Funko Pops. During the pandemic, you kids got real excited about these things because you were bored at home and you bought a bunch. What happened next?
The Funko Pop company made a ton thinking there was going to be a high demand when every kid already had one, and then they made too many, so now they're going to throw them away.
What? Okay, so during the pandemic, you kids got excited about these things. You ran out and bought a bunch of them, and then now the company has too many, and they're going to do what?
Throw them away.
Throw them away. So you kids went out and bought a bunch of these things, spend a bunch of money on them, and now they have too many, and they're going to throw them away.
Yes.
This is crazy to think. Now tell me, Freddy, now that you know this about the Funko Pop company and how you put your money towards these toys, does that make you happy that they're going to throw them out?
No, because they're throwing away millions of these.
They're throwing away millions of them?
Yes.
Like how many millions? Do you remember how much?
6 to 7 million?
Nope, I think it was somewhere around 30 million.
What? Oh.
The article was kind of confusing when we were reading it. If you want to see the article, we'll leave a link down in the description for you guys. I just wanted to kind of bring the attention, and Freddy now recognizes from his favorite toy here, the bullwhip effect. This is when a high demand within the retail starts causing obscurities throughout the rest of the distribution all the way up to the manufacturers. As they look through the supply chain thinking that there is this high demand for these Funko Pops when the kids ran out and bought them during the pandemic, excuse me, they started producing a lot more of these Funko Pop toys to try and distribute out there throughout the rest of the market, selling to the kids. But once the kids already had their Funko Pop, they didn't need any more of them. And so now there's a glut of these Funko Pops sitting in storage containers, storage units that are now costing the company money. And so instead of costing them money to store them, they are going ahead and throwing them away, since the profit will no longer match the cost of storage, if that makes sense. So now all the Funko Pops that these kids were in high demand of, spending their hard-earned money on, because Freddy does work hard for his money, are now being tossed into the garbage.
Yes.
And that certainly doesn't make you feel good, does it, Freddy? All right. So this is something we wanted to bring to the attention, what the bullwhip effect has and the places that it can show up. Happen to show up in one of Freddy's favorite toys here, and it's going to happen throughout many parts of the distribution network and throughout all the retail markets. You're going to find things like Funko Pops are going to be all of a sudden in mass glut. These things that are easy to produce, don't have a whole lot of like material costs going into them. Really, the major problem was the distribution breakdown that happened, and that there was no real shortage of these Funko Pops, but just really a lack of being able to distribute it through the system. When the high demand started kicking in for these, as the lack of availability was driving up the overwhelming consumer demand that just simply did not exist, we started finding manufacturing throughout all the industries ramping up production. We saw it within the lumber industry. We see it here in Funko Pops. You're going to find it in things like the semiconductors. It's going to happen in many, many parts of the economy. Things that you're going to find that may not have the same like increase in distribution as far as the manufacturing and failure to get it through the system, are going to be things like food and energy. These are going to be things that are going to be critical to the necessity of life, and those are going to be very difficult at times. Sometimes you're going to find a glut of those as people are increasing the amount of investment going into those items as they are seeking out those higher priced returns, not realizing that searching for those higher price returns or investing into them is going to create the glut within itself. It's kind of how the economy ends up working. It's the cycles that I try to show Freddy, and these are one of them that are now going to be exposed to him in a way that he can now recognize from the Funko Pop now throughout many parts of the economy. So always teach them when they're young, right, kid?
Yes.
That's it. Uneducated Economist.
You let me know.